Thank you, Sarah. So, just to give a little bit of information about what the session is about. So, it's designed to inform you about our early years apprenticeships from level 2 all the way to level 5. So, if you do have anything in particular or any questions that you hope to get answered in this session, please pop them in the Q&A. And we will aim to answer those throughout, but then also at the end, as Sarah has mentioned, we've got a Q&A session coming up as well. So I'll start with just a bit of the background about what an apprenticeship is. So an apprenticeship is a learning program basically where learners can learn while they earn basically, so learn while in the workplace. So they must be a member of staff having a contract of employment that covers the duration of their program. They can't be asked to contribute to the cost of their training. They must be on program on the apprenticeship for a minimum of 12 months as well. And they must be given the support within the setting towards their learning, basically. An apprenticeship is made up of different components. So there is something called an apprenticeship standard, which is knowledge, skills, and behaviours that the apprentices need to demonstrate throughout the apprenticeship. So there is a standard that learners work towards. Apprentices also need to work towards maths and English functional skills. So this is a part of every apprenticeship, a requirement of an apprenticeship. And this is basically if they don't have valid exemptions at the level of their apprenticeship. There is also something called off-the-job training, which is part of every apprenticeship, which Sarah will go through with you in a bit more detail in this webinar. And once an apprentice has achieved all elements of their apprenticeship, they will go into something called Gateway, which is a conversation between the employer, the learner, and us as the training provider to confirm they are ready for their endpoint assessment. I'm going to go through in a bit more detail for all of the apprenticeships we're looking at today, what the endpoint assessment is for those apprenticeships as well. So just looking at what the benefits are of our early years apprenticeships. First of all, they really support development of practitioners to help them to be the best that they can be within their role. They allow apprentices to apply what they're learning on programme to their practice in the workplace and to learn as they work. It provides a fully recognised qualification in line with the EYFS and ratio requirements. It offers a route into higher education whilst working and gaining practical experience. So there's a route that we offer from level 2 all the way through to level 5, and we can then recommend further training routes from there for those interested in further study. It helps apprentices to develop their confidence, their communication skills, and our apprenticeships are designed to support wider learning, so to support learners with developing their career progression, developing skills and knowledge such as things around safeguarding, British values, and their wider understanding. And it's an opportunity for apprentices to gain a fully funded qualification. So we will go into funding routes a bit more at the end, but the apprenticeships are 95% government funded. So really good opportunity to gain that fully funded qualification for an apprentice. So I mentioned our career progression routes for early years. So I'll just bring this up on the screen, what our career progression route could look like. So we've got our Early Years Practitioner Level 2 apprenticeship, Early Years Educator Level 3. Apprentices can then go on to Early Years Lead Practitioner Level 5. We can then signpost learners to various places that can offer a top-up degree. So we have a partnership with a university in particular that do a really good top-up degree online, which apprentices can apply for following on from the Level 5 Early Years Lead Practitioner apprenticeship. And we then offer early years initial teacher training. So for those that are interested in completing that, they can then come back to us and do the EYITT at the end of that as well. So that's just one possible progression route that apprentices can take if they're interested in that further study. Apprentices don't need to complete level 2 before going on to level 3, but we assess that based on suitability for programme. So they can complete level 2 or level 3 depending on what programme is right for them. So I was just going to go into a bit about what our delivery plan is. So we offer a blended programme of face-to-face and online study. So that consists of online virtual classroom sessions that we put on with an experienced tutor where apprentices can all get together and discuss and share ideas around the different topics. We have one-to-one tutors that are allocated to every apprentice who can give that one-to-one face-to-face and online support. And there's also online resources that we provide as well, and online materials that we can provide to support learning. Apprentices will take part in progress reviews with their apprenticeship tutor and employer every 6 weeks. There is, as I've mentioned, so specialised one-to-one tutor support, and that includes as well if a learner needs more support, for example, with maths or English, we also have tutors that support with that. We have our BPN Boost personal development, career information, advice and guidance and welfare programme, which I'll go into in a bit more detail in a second. We encourage regular reflections on learning and practice throughout the programme. And finally, for all of our apprenticeships, there is a big focus on partnership working between us as the training provider, the apprentice and the employer. So I mentioned a bit about our virtual classrooms. Our virtual classrooms are a big part of our programme, and they are online classrooms that are designed to support apprentices to share ideas and experience, to gain ideas from an experienced tutor. So we have a team of virtual classroom tutors who deliver all of these classrooms. They're designed to be really engaging. So as you can see some examples on the screen, apprentices will get into breakout rooms and discuss different scenario-based questions. There'll be things like whiteboard activities and word clouds. As you can see on the screen, one of our examples is polls that we might have. So our tutors set up different polls and interactive activities within Zoom. And discuss different things relating to their practice. So as you can see on the screen, discussing and linking the theories that they've learned in the session back to practice through breakout room and interactive discussions. So they're a really beneficial part of a learner's journey, and we recommend that apprentices will attend one of these sessions per month, linking in with their modules that they're completing. We also have BPM Boost, which is our career information, advice and guidance and welfare programme. So BPM Boost consists of an online library of resources. So we have lots of different resources around the different topics designed to support learners with their career progression and their well-being. So apprentices can go into our library and access anything that they're interested in or that they need at any point relating to some of the topics on the screen. So things like communication, health and happiness, supporting their career progression, study skills and things like that. As part of their apprenticeship, we also pay for a membership for the Association of Apprentices that apprentices can access. This is a platform that allows apprentices to connect with other apprentices completing different apprenticeships. It allows them to access some useful tools to support their career development. And there's lots of e-learning resources available on there as well. So, for example, lots of resources on things like resilience at work, mental health, things like self-awareness, lots of actually really useful resources for those in leadership apprenticeships as well. So for level 5, there's lots of things on supporting team working and leadership and coaching and different things like that. So it's a really useful resource that we provide as part of the apprenticeship through us. We also have monthly virtual classrooms relating to BPN Boost. So this is something that we put on monthly. So for example, in October, we're having a classroom on resilience and managing workplace stress. So this is in addition to our usual virtual classrooms in order to support with supporting well-being and career development. And we have also got some podcasts coming up soon. So we will be putting on different podcasts, again, relating to all of these topics. The one that we are working on at the moment is relating to supporting resilience in children and supporting staff resilience as well. So there's lots of things like that that we provide throughout the programme to support apprentices with their well-being. So I was just going to go over now a bit of an overview of the different apprenticeships that we offer and a breakdown of what those look like. So our first one is Early Years Practitioner Level 2. This programme is designed to be a 13-month programme, but learners can complete within 12 months for all of these apprenticeships minimum. So it's designed at 13 months for a full-time learner. For all of these programs, the duration will be extended for those that are working fewer than 30 hours. So we do extend the program if needed, depending on the needs of the apprentice and their working hours. Um, there is then 3 months, a 3-month window that the apprentice will be completing their endpoint assessment as well. For an apprentice on a level 2 apprenticeship, they will need to complete Maths and English level 1 functional skills if they haven't already got equivalent qualifications. They also will need to complete a level 2 diploma, Early Years Practitioner diploma, that they will do alongside their apprenticeship standard. So this consists of criteria that they need to meet alongside the apprenticeship standard. It's an ideal apprenticeship for those that are new to an earlier setting or new to the workplace or are not quite ready for a level 3 apprenticeship. So we can support you with identifying the correct level if you're not quite sure and what the right level is for your apprentice. And it consists of 9 core modules. All of these have a virtual classroom associated to them. So apprentices can attend a classroom relating to each of these modules, including areas such as child development, health and safety, safeguarding, and purposeful play and assessment. When they get to their endpoint assessment for this apprenticeship, it is a multiple choice test and a professional discussion, which is underpinned by a portfolio of evidence. They will be given lots of support for all of our apprenticeships. We give lots of support and guidance throughout the programme to work towards the endpoint assessment. So that is our level 2 apprenticeship. So for level 3 early years educator, this one is a 15-month programme. Again, the minimum duration for all of our apprenticeships is the same at 12 months. There's an endpoint assessment window of 3 months where they'll then be in EPA completing their endpoint assessment. It's a fully recognised apprenticeship and supports in meeting the ratio requirements for early years educator level 3 in an early years setting. It's recently been updated, so a benefit of the updated programme is that learners do not need to complete any additional diploma or anything else alongside the apprenticeship, so they are just working towards an apprenticeship standard rather than having to tick off bits of criteria. It's all about developing their knowledge, skills and behaviours in the workplace. They need to complete functional skills, maths and English level 2. And learners do need to complete paediatric first aid and submit their certificate as part of their apprenticeship. So that is something that they will need to complete and evidence before they get to the end of their apprenticeship. There are 11 modules as part of our Early Years Educator Level 3 apprenticeship, including safeguarding, health and safety, child development. We cover things such as a unique child, enabling environments, teaching, learning and assessment. We do lots on theories as well, and endpoint assessment preparation towards the end of the programme as well. The endpoint assessment methods when the apprentice gets to that point are an observation in the setting, followed by a questioning session, and a professional discussion with a portfolio of evidence. And finally, going over the Early Years Lead Practitioner Level 5 apprenticeship. This programme is designed as an 18-month programme with then a 6-month endpoint assessment window. So as always, the minimum duration would be 12 months. But for this programme, we would generally expect learners to be on for the full 18-month duration due to the weight of the programme and the amount that needs to be demonstrated throughout that time. It's designed for those in a leadership role in an earlier setting. So we need apprentices to be in a suitable role where they can demonstrate that they are leading others. Apprentices on this apprenticeship need to achieve functional skills, maths and English at level 2. And we deliver the level 5 programme in cohorts. So apprentices will complete it in a specific order and they will stay in the groups that they were enrolled in. Completing virtual classrooms in those same groups, which is a nice opportunity for them to get to know the group that they are working with and continue to have those collaborative discussions in the virtual classroom sessions. We have 19 online sessions that are delivered throughout the programme, including topics such as leadership practice, the unique child, implementation of legislation and guidance, and supporting learning and development. And the Early Years Lead Practitioner Level 5 is a fully recognised qualification in line with the EYFS. So it means that apprentices can complete the level 5 without having completed the level 3 apprenticeship. However, that would only really be suitable for somebody that has significant experience and, for example, has completed a previous qualification that's no longer full and relevant or something like that, because they'd need to be in a suitable leadership role in a earlier setting with significant experience in early years. So I will hand over now to Sarah, who's going to go through some of the employer requirements for our apprenticeships.
Oh, thank you, Emma. Hi, everyone. So I'm just going to talk about a bit of the employer requirements when it comes to apprenticeships, because actually the employer plays such a huge part in this journey to support their apprentices on programs. So I think really sort of the initial thing that I want to get across is that, we do sort of value the importance of the employer and the role that you play. One of the things that we do is we offer a physical and electronic copy of an employer handbook and also a program handbook for any that need to, just understand what their roles and responsibilities are within that. We do find great success levels with employers that are engaged in their apprentices, and we do try and encourage that support as much as possible. So one of the key things that we require is that you attend learner reviews. The reviews are a really good opportunity to understand where the apprentice is up to in terms of their learning journey, and then be able to be involved in their next steps and their training plan. So if you think you've got certain times of the year where you might want one of your apprentices to focus on certain areas of the curriculum, we can support with that. So, I mean, I'll use June as an example. There's lots of transition happening, children moving on to potentially the next stage in their education. So, of course, we can work with you to make sure those learners are developing knowledge in supporting with transitions to help your business needs as well. It's about allowing that time for apprentices to attend those virtual classrooms as well. So it's allocating that time and planning ahead to know when those virtual classrooms are and making sure they do attend. I mean, as Emma was saying previously, they are a great opportunity for learners to be able to meet with other learners across the country and to actually gain sort of different aspects of practice and different ideas that they can take with them to bring into and benefit the setting. We also require apprentices to have a certain level of off the job, which is 20% of a full-time apprentice working around sort of 30 hours a week. And with that, it's about making sure that those requirements are being met and that time is being allocated. I will talk about off the job on the next slide though, because I know it is one of those topics that does require a bit more further understanding on. So I will go on to that in a minute. Apprentices do need to be supplied with a mentor. So somebody in the setting who has a bit more sort of knowledge and experience within the sector, who they can go to ask for support and to help with those new opportunities, particularly learning within practice. Being able to provide regular support, feedback, and guidance to the apprentice is a key part of the role as well. You will have the opportunity to do that during the progress reviews, which happen every 4 to 6 weeks. But of course, being able to do that to support their learning and their development as well can prove to be paramount within their journey. And of course, giving those opportunities for further development of those knowledge, skills, and behaviours. So those are really sort of an overview of the employer requirements and, sort of the support that comes in from that training avenue. So naturally, off the job is a key topic that is discussed. So I believe my colleague's just going to move over to the next slide for me so I can talk about all things off the job. So off the job training, it's very much weighed out depending on the number of hours you work. So if you're an apprentice who works 30 hours a week plus, you will need a minimum of 6 hours per week off the job training. And of course, if you're a part-time apprentice, that will be proportionate to the hours as well. So sort of 20% equivalent of that. Of course, that is a minimum. So if you find that you have got an apprentice who needs a bit more additional time, additional support, that's absolutely fine to go over that 6 hours. And of course, there is a slight level of flexibility there. So you might do slightly more hours one week and slightly less the other. So it can have that flexibility to meet in with those business needs. And when we think about off-the-job training, you've got sort of different avenues with it. So you've got that off-the-job training in the traditional sense of being taken out of ratio and out of numbers, placed into maybe a staff room in an office and complete some of their tasks and that revision towards those tasks. But also it can be really that sort of practical learning that happens in the workplace. And and in numbers as well sometimes, as an opportunity to develop those knowledge, skills and behaviours. And I think that's the key thing. The key thing with off-the-job training is it's about learning new skills, new behaviours and new knowledge. So it's ensuring as an employer that you're providing those opportunities for those learners to be able to have those opportunities. So I'll just go through some examples of what can contribute towards off-the-job training. So naturally, if you're a term time only setting, you may have inset days, which usually happen around sort of September time and various different points throughout the year. So inset days, I would say, would be a great opportunity where that apprentice will be learning further knowledge relating to things relating to your setting. Coaching and mentoring, as well as reflective learning. So thinking about spending time with the apprentice, especially if something or an event has happened. So I'll use an example of a child who maybe had a slight behavior challenge. And with that, it led to a certain behavior being demonstrated. So actually taking the time to work with that apprentice, think about what happened and the events that led up to that, and what they could potentially do differently moving forward can be a great opportunity for that off-the-job training to help with that professional development. Workplace shadowing is a really good hands-on opportunity for learners to gain off-the-job training. And it's about thinking of what new opportunities and what new shadowing that apprentice can see throughout their time on programme. So, for example, if you have a one-to-one child who may have specialist additional needs, then you might want your apprentice to be shadowing the one-to-one who's working with them, to think about, and to gain new skills to be able to sort of work with children who do have a variety of needs to be able to support them moving forward. Alternatively, what some of our employers do is they will move learners to work in different rooms to gain sort of more exposure to working with different age groups as well. And that can contribute towards off-the-job training. Networking and moderation events. So, I'll give you the example of the Nursery World Conference that happens annually. That can be a really great opportunity to gain sort of more knowledge, particularly of what's happening in the sector. And of course, sort of research towards the apprenticeship. So if there is a task relating to policies and procedures, the apprentice might be reading up on revised policies. They might be trying to find new information. They might even be researching online or even attending some of our online virtual classrooms as well. And those can contribute towards that off the job alongside training events, which may occur as well. So, it's not just about having that learner in the office all the time. It's about giving that sort of all-rounded opportunities between that on the job and off the job training to help towards that. So hopefully that's given a little bit more of an insight into what off the job is and some ideas and examples of how that could be met within the workplace from that side of things. So on that, I will hand over to my colleague Alice, who is going to talk to you all about funding.
Thanks, Sarah. So in regards to funding, there are a few different ways that the apprenticeship can be funded, and that all depends on how you are set up as an employer. So it may be that you pay into an apprenticeship levy, and that could be through yourselves. That could be through an academy trust, a local authority or council. If you pay into a levy pot, that essentially means that that apprenticeship funding is absorbed through that. So there is no additional cost to the setting whatsoever. Those funds that are set aside in that apprenticeship levy pot will be used for the training. So there is nothing else you'd need to pay. If your setting doesn't contribute to an apprenticeship levy, you essentially pay 5% of the overall cost of the programme. So you can see the cost of the programmes over on the other side of the screen. So we've got the Early Years Practitioner Level 2 at 4,000, Early Years Educator Level 3 at 7,000, and Early Years Lead Practitioner Level 5 at 8,000. So you would just pay 5% of the cost for each of those programs for whatever the apprentice is undertaking. Now that 5% is invoiced to you from us on a monthly basis. So you would get individual invoices each month for that 5% payment, and 95% of that will be picked up by the government. You can also apply to do an apprenticeship levy transfer. This is where some of larger providers, so for example, think of those really big retailers, those really big kind of e-commerce companies, they are going to have a levy pot that they can even think about spending. What the great thing is that they have that available for smaller businesses to use. And it may be that they limit that to a certain area or a certain field or sector. But essentially, anyone who has an apprenticeship service account can go ahead and apply for that apprenticeship levy, which essentially would mean that those funds are completely absorbed by that larger organisation. Then what you can also get is 100% of the funding covered if your apprentice is 16 to 18 years old or is between 19 to 24 and has a educational healthcare plan. So that would mean that the apprentice is fully covered by the government. There'll be nothing for you to pay at the settings, and employers and training providers will also receive an additional £1,000 where the apprentice is between 16 and 18 years old. So that is additional support there with the funding. So if anyone actually has any queries about the funding and wants to know how to get that set up, if you're thinking, I definitely don't pay into a levy, but I don't have an apprenticeship service account yet, that is something we can help you set up. We have lots of resources to support employers with getting that set up. So, but that is kind of the 4 funding routes that you can go down for any of these apprenticeships. So, our next intakes, they close on October 13th, so not long left to go. And that's for our November first days of learning. So we run weekly first days of learning for our programs, and the November intake closes on October 13th. So we'd need applications through prior to that for the November start. All apprentices can apply directly through our website, which has we've got a link there on the screen, and we can send this out to you. But if you just go and type in Best Practice Network to Google and visit our website, you'll be able to see all of the apprenticeships on the website available. And as soon as you click on the one you want, you'll see a big Apply Now button.